Real Madrid. Real Madrid's logo wasn't always as royal as it is today. When the club was founded in 1902, its badge was simple, just the initials M, C and F for Madrid Club de Futbol. In 1920, King Alfonso XIII granted the club the title Real, adding the crown and transforming the logo into a symbol of high status and regal association. It's worth noting that King Alfonso XIII granted the Real title to several other Spanish clubs, not just Madrid. However, the crown isn't the defining feature of the logo. While the Real designation is a symbol of royal approval, the core of the Madrid badge is the white and purple circle emblem. The purple colour stands as a historic reference to Castile, long before Madrid became the political capital of Spain. In fact, during the Second Spanish Republic in the 1930s, the crown was removed, and it could be again if Spain were to become a republic. As time went on, the crest evolved. The logo underwent subtle refinements over the decades, especially as the club became more of a global brand. The purple tone shifted slightly, and the crest became sleeker to match modern kit designs. But through all the changes, one thing remained constant: the core emblem and the historical association with Castile. A lasting reminder of the club's roots and the royal connection that has come to define its identity today. Barcelona. Barcelona's badge isn't what you'd call simple, it's actually pretty detailed, but it's balanced in a way that it still looks clean on a shirt. At the top left you've got the red cross featured on the badge, which honours St. George, the most important saint in Catalonia. Right next to it, those yellow and red stripes come straight from the Catalan flag, the Senyera. Then you've got the bottom half with the blue and claret stripes everyone knows from the team's kits. The colours are actually a tribute to the first club founded by Swiss founder Hans Gamper, FC Basel. And finally you've got a football sitting in the middle to tie it all back to the sport. Across the middle there's FCB in bold letters, which stands for Football Club Barcelona. The shield shape itself has been tweaked as the years pass to look more modern, but they kept all the elements that matter. It's detailed, yeah, but it doesn't feel messy, and that's the point. It's the club's history, local identity and football culture all layered into one design that fans instantly recognise anywhere in the world. Atletico Madrid. Atletico's badge is one of those that looks cool even if you don't know the story, but it's even better once you do. Look closely, and you'll spot a bear leaning against a strawberry tree. Yeah, it sounds random, but it's actually the symbol of Madrid itself. That little part of the badge keeps the club tied to its roots in the city. Then you've got the red and white stripes filling out the rest, matching the club's kits. Funny enough, Atletico actually started out wearing blue and white because they were linked to Athletic Bilbao back in the early days. But pretty soon, they switched to red and white, and it stuck. Over time, the badge has been sharpened and modernised, but they never ditched the bear and the tree, Sevilla. Sevilla's badge is like a mini piece of the city's story. Right at the top, there are three figures: Saint Isidore, Saint Ferdinand, and Saint Leander. They're not random picks. These are big names in Sevilla's local history and culture. In the centre of the badge, you see the club's initials, SFC, drawn in a classic style that hasn't changed much over time. Then below, there's a field of red and white stripes that matches the club's kits and keeps everything balanced. The design itself is pretty detailed, which isn't the trend these days, but Sevilla never really wanted to strip it down too much. They've cleaned it up here and there so it works better on kits, TV screens and merch. But the badge still holds onto that mix of faith, history and football. Juventus. Juventus pulled off one of the boldest logo moves in football history back in 2017. Before that, their badge had the classic black and white stripes, a charging bull borrowed from Turin's coat of arms, and an arch with the club's name. It looked traditional, familiar, and honestly pretty classy. But then they flipped the script completely, took out the detailed crest, and replaced it with a minimalist design which was just a sleek J and the word Juventus. At first, the fans weren't too happy. It felt like swapping an Italian suit for a plain black t-shirt. But the idea was bigger than just the pitch. Juventus wanted to position themselves as a modern global brand, not only a football club. Eventually it worked out. The badge looks sharp on shirts and everywhere else, and while some people still miss the old bull, there's no denying the new look made Juventus stand out from every other team badge in Europe. Inter Milan. Inter Milan's badge has always been about letters, but somehow they've made it look stylish for more than a century. When the club was founded in 1908, the badge had the letters FCIM for football club Internazionale Milano, which was drawn in an Art Deco style inside a round border. Over the years, the badge got updated loads of times. Sometimes the lines got thicker, sometimes the letters looked a bit more modern, but they never ditched the gold and blue colour scheme. Even the most recent update didn't change the concept, it just made everything cleaner and sharper so it fits better on digital screens and shirts. That's the cool thing about Inter's logo. It's classic but flexible enough to keep up with the times. Lazio. When you look at Lazio's badge, your eyes go straight to the eagle on top. They call it the Aquila, and it isn't just there for decoration. It's a direct nod to the standards carried by Roman legions in ancient times, linking the club to the city's imperial history. Under the eagle, there's a white and sky blue shield that matches the team's famous colours, and usually you'll see SS Lazio written inside or just below it. And as expected, the badge has had tweaks to the font and the detailing, but they never thought about removing the eagle because that's the part fans love most. It symbolises power, heritage and freedom, basically, everything the club wants to stand for. Napoli. Napoli's badge proves that sometimes the simplest ideas stick best. It's basically a big white N inside a circle, resting on that unmistakable sky blue background that matches the club's shirts. They could have gone for something more complicated, maybe a symbol of Mount Vesuvius or an old city crest, but they chose to keep it clean and bold. Over the years, they've only made small changes like tweaking the font, sharpening the outline, and playing with different shades of blue. But the core design never really changed. That sky blue isn't just for looks either. It connects the club to Naples itself, a city that sits under sunny skies by the sea. And that N is big and unmistakable, so when you see it, there's no doubt which club it belongs to. In a world where logos keep getting modern makeovers or extra details, Napoli's badge stays classic. It's confident, direct, and instantly tells you who they are. Benfica. Right at the top, you've got a golden eagle, which isn't random at all. It symbolises independence, strength and vision, qualities that Benfica embodies both on and off the field. The eagle is also a national symbol of Portugal, representing freedom and resilience. Below that, there's a red and white shield cut by a diagonal blue stripe, which harks back to Lisbon's historic city symbols. The red and white represent the club's identity, while the blue stripe connects it to Lisbon's roots. In the centre, you'll find an old leather football, grounding it all in the sport the club has become synonymous with. The letters SLB stand for Sport Lisboa e Benfica, proudly showing the club's full name. Beneath that is the banner with the phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. This motto isn't just a saying, it's a powerful message about the unity of the club, its fans, and the values it represents. It reflects Benfica's deep sense of community, not just as a football club, but as a symbol of Portuguese pride and togetherness. Porto. Porto's badge doesn't hide its love for the city. It's basically the city's coat of arms with some football mixed in. You see the royal crown sitting at the top, you see the castles also, and that blue and white quartered shield that matches Porto's kit colours. The letters FCP around the badge stand for Futebol Clube do Porto, and then there's the dragon above the shield, which is a symbol of Portuguese history that gives the whole design a fierce look. Compared to modern minimalist badges, Porto's crest is packed with details, but that's why it works. It connects the club directly to the city's story, and fans wouldn't trade it for anything simpler because that detail is what makes it special. Every time you see it, it feels like you're looking at a piece of local Portuguese history brought to life. PSG's badge has always been built around one thing, the city of Paris. Right at the centre, there's the Eiffel Tower, which is probably the most recognisable landmark in the world. Underneath it, there's a fleur-de-lis, which ties the club back to Saint-Germain-en-Laye, the suburb where PSG was founded and a place rich in royal history. Before the 2010s, the badge even had a cradle under the tower, which symbolised the birthplace of King Louis XIV, but they dropped it during a rebrand to make the design look cleaner and more modern. The goal was to make PSG feel like a global brand while still keeping the heart of Paris in the badge. They could have gone all futuristic, but they kept the Eiffel Tower and fleur-de-lis because those symbols instantly say Paris. It's one of those logos that even non-football fans recognise, and that's exactly what PSG wanted, something rooted in history, but big enough to go worldwide. Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich's badge is as Bavarian as it gets. In the centre there's that blue and white diamond pattern you see on the Bavarian flag, and surrounding it is a bold red ring with the club's name, FC Bayern München. The red ring, a nod to Bayern's passionate fan base and fierce spirit, frames the design, giving the badge a sense of unity and strength. It serves as a reminder that despite its global reach, Bayern Munich remains grounded in its Bavarian roots. The logo isn't just a badge, it's a symbol of tradition, pride, and a club that represents not only Munich, but the entire region of Bavaria. Over time, they've refined the badge, cleaned up the lines, updated the font, and made the colours pop a bit more. But they never changed the diamonds, because that's what makes Bayern's badge stand out. It's a logo you can spot instantly, whether it's on a scarf, a jersey, or the Allianz Arena's big screens. Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund's badge is proof that you don't need a complicated design to make something iconic. It's literally a yellow circle with bold black letters, BVB, which is short for Ballspielverein Borussia, and 09 underneath for the year they were founded, 1909. In the early days, they experimented with fancier designs and shields, but fans always preferred the clean, bold look. And honestly, when you see tens of thousands of fans at the Westfalenstadion forming a massive yellow wall, that simple badge fits the vibe perfectly. It feels strong, direct, and rooted in the club's working-class history. There's nothing extra, just the club's name, the year they were born, and that striking yellow that stands out anywhere. It might not have dragons, lions, or city symbols, but it doesn't need them, if we are being honest. Hey, if you've been enjoying this video so far, don't let it stop here. Like and subscribe so you have first-hand access to videos as soon as they drop. So back to it, let's talk about RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig's badge isn't trying to look old school because the club itself isn't. It was founded in 2009 and is owned by Red Bull. The badge shows two Red Bulls charging at each other in front of a football with RB Leipzig written above. They didn't bother adding historic Leipzig city symbols or anything from local history, partly because the club was built from scratch to be modern and different. The design matches the brand's style, which is all about energy, movement, and being in your face. Some football fans see it as too commercial or corporate, and they're not totally wrong, but there's no denying it's become familiar fast. Love it or hate it, that badge now shows up in Bundesliga matches, European competitions, and on loads of shirts and scarves. It's proof that even a club that's barely older than a decade can stamp its logo into football culture pretty quickly. Ajax. Ajax's badge is honestly a smart piece of design. At the centre, there's a stylised drawing of Ajax, the Greek hero the club is named after. But here's the clever bit. The drawing is made up of exactly 11 lines, representing the 11 players on the pitch. Back in the day, the badge was actually a much more detailed portrait of Ajax. It was proper old school and classic. But in the early 90s, they decided to modernise it and make the logo cleaner and easier to print on shirts and merch. Around the hero, you've got the club's name, AFC Ajax, keeping that traditional circle shape that so many European clubs have. It's modern, but still very clearly Ajax. What's cool is how they managed to keep the history and symbolism while making something that looks sharp on a kit today. PSV. PSV's badge is one of those old school designs that hasn't really needed a massive rebrand to stay relevant. It's an oval shape with red and white stripes running through it, matching the club's famous home shirts. Across the middle, there's a white banner that says PSV in bold letters to keep it clear and unmistakable. Around the edge, you'll spot a gold trim and two tiny waving flags. These details go all the way back to when the club was founded by Philips factory workers in 1913. Over the years, they've polished up the badge, refined the font, tweaked the shades of red and gold, and made the stripes pop more on modern kits. But they've never ditched the flags or the stripes, because that's what makes it PSV. Liverpool. Liverpool's new badge, introduced in February 2025, features a sleek, minimalistic design while honouring the club's rich history. The live bird, a symbol of strength, resilience and pride, remains at the heart of the logo, with LFC below, standing for Liverpool Football Club. The logo moves away from traditional elements, embracing clean lines to enhance digital presence and brand recognition. The iconic "You'll Never Walk Alone" slogan and the Hillsborough Flames have been removed, reflecting Liverpool's evolving global brand. Despite the simplification, the liver bird continues to represent unity and heritage, balancing innovation with the core values that have shaped the club for over a century. It's a modern look for a club that honours its roots while moving forward. Chelsea. Chelsea's logo history is like a transformation from classic old-school charm to a bold, powerful identity. When the club was founded in 1905, their first logo featured a Chelsea pensioner, referencing the Royal Hospital Chelsea, where retired British soldiers lived. While it had historical significance, it didn't exactly exude power. In fact, fans even referred to the team as the Pensioners. By the 1950s, Chelsea ditched the pensioner and started experimenting with more modern looks. Then, in 1953, they introduced the logo that shaped their future, a blue lion holding a staff. It's taken from elements of the old coat of arms of the Metropolitan Borough of Chelsea. The lion itself is a symbol of strength, courage and pride, while the staff is tied to the club's historic connections to Westminster Abbey and the church. Around the lion, there's a ring with the club's name and 2 red roses, which represent England's national flower. Over the decades, Chelsea tried different designs. At one point they even switched to a simple CFC monogram in the 80s, but fans always preferred the classic lion. The most recent redesign kept it traditional but sharper, which made it look good on modern kits and in digital formats. It feels royal, proud and very Chelsea. And that's why the badge today manages to look both classic and fresh at the same time. Manchester United. Manchester United's badge has always been about the club's nickname and the city it calls home. The red devil in the centre came from the nickname the Red Devils, which the club picked up in the 1960s from the Salford rugby team, and the manager at the time adopted it because he thought it sounded fierce and intimidating. Above the devil, there's a ship with full sails, which represents Manchester's industrial past and its importance as a busy port city, even though it's actually inland. Over the years, they made the badge simpler for branding. They dropped the words football club and focused just on Manchester United. But the core elements stayed. The red and yellow colours, the devil, and the ship have become instantly recognisable symbols. Tottenham. Tottenham's badge keeps it as simple as it gets, but somehow it just works. It's literally a cockerel standing proudly on top of a football. No fancy shields or dragons, just a bird doing its thing. The cockerel has been linked to the club since the 1920s, stemming from Harry Hotspur, the medieval knight the club is named after. He was known for wearing fighting spurs, hence the cockerel. It's a little quirky, but it makes sense. Over the years, the club experimented with more complex designs, throwing in shields, letters, and extra details. But no one was buying it. Fans always loved the single cockerel best. The current version is sleek, minimalist, and still rocks that connection to the club's history. It's so clean and iconic that it looks great on shirts, scarves, and even tattoos, because who wouldn't want a proud chicken inked on their arm? And here's the thing, you don't need a roaring lion or a mythical bird to have a badge that feels strong, proud, and instantly recognisable. Sometimes all you need is a cockerel with attitude. Manchester City. Manchester City's current badge is actually a throwback to an older design, and fans were pretty happy to see it come back. In the middle, there's a golden ship in full sail which symbolises the Great Manchester Ship Canal, which turned the city into a major trade hub back in the day. Below that, there's the Red Rose of Lancashire, the historic county where the city sits. Around the badge, it simply says Manchester City and 1894, the year the club was founded. In the 90s, the club tried out an eagle design to look a bit more modern and fiercer, but fans missed the classic round badge that felt closer to the club's roots. So in 2016, City went back to something more traditional, something that feels local, historic, and real. A proper badge that connects past and present and proudly shows where they're from. And that's the story behind why these badges look the way they do. They are not just random shapes, but real history, local pride, and a bit of creative flair. If you enjoyed this breakdown, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments which club logo you rate the most, or which ones you want us to cover next. Catch you in the next one.